He's a wizard, he's a clown, he can baffle and astound. Who is it?
Jolly Roger.
And if you clap along and cheer, he'll make things disappear. Who is it?
Jolly Roger.
Sensational!
He's a real sensation.
I'm a superstar!
He's a superstar.
Fantastic!
He's the most fantastic, magical guy. And you'll laugh till you cry. He's the master of surprise. You won't believe your eyes. Who is it?
Jolly Roger.
Hi, I'm Juliana, and I'm on Kids Talk, and I welcome Jolly Roger.
Hey! Hey, thank you very much, honey. Thank you, thank you. Boys, girls, mums, dads, uncles and aunties and babes in arms, welcome to Kids Talk. My name is Jolly Roger, the jolliest Englishman this side of the Atlantic. And we have a fabulous, fabulous show for you today, as always. And we have lots of brand new kids in the studio. Some old kids, some new kids, kids we've never seen before. Who's never been to the studio before? Put your hands up. We've got a few fellas at the back, and we've got a young lady at the front. You want to stand up a minute, ma'am? Let's have a little quick and say hi to you. And what is your name? Hello, Heather, and how old are you, ma'am? 10 years old, goodness me, and how old are you going to be on your 15th birthday?
She's actually 11.
Oh, she's 11, is she? I'm sorry, are you a sister or a friend or what? Are you just a heckler?
Sister.
Are you a sister? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so you keep her in order, do you? Do you keep her in order as a sister, yeah? Do you give her breakfast in bed?
No.
Change her diapers?
No.
No, she's beyond that, isn't she? There we are, yes.
I keep my little sister in track sometimes.
Oh, you keep your little sister in track, did you? Oh, well, that's wonderful. Anyway, give the girls a nice big clap. That's great. Now, let's just say a quick hi to a couple of the boys back here. Who have we got here, sir? Your name is?
My name is Gary.
Hi, Gary. Nice to see you. How old are you, if I may be so rude as to ask?
15.
15 years old. That's wonderful. You enjoying the teenage years, are you?
Sorry.
Okay, it's all right, isn't it? Who are you, sir?
My name's Austin.
Hello, Austin. Good to see you. And where are you from? I gather you guys, you've come from the North Country in Arizona. Whereabouts is that?
I'm from Cavity.
Cavity. That's what I got my, with a tooth there, and it's for cavity. I don't know how.
Cavity.
Oh, Camp Verde. I'm sorry. You see, I'm from England. I'm just learning American. Okay. Okay. Who have we got over there, sir? Your name is?
Dalen.
Hi, Dalen. And who are you at the end there?
Sean.
Nice and loud. Very good to see you. Okay. We're not going to come and say hello to everybody because we have a rather special and different show this evening here on Kids Talk, because we're going to come right off and introduce my very special guest this evening. Now, normally, as you know, on our show, we've had, what have we had? We've had magicians, and we've had jugglers, and we've had ventriloquists, and all sorts of exciting people. Today, and this coming weekend, we have a show that is taking place, in fact, it's a convention down at the Safari Resort in Scottsdale, when we have the entire, or almost entire, British contingency from the Star Wars movies. That is like the Return of the Jedi and the Empire Strikes Back, and Star Wars itself, which was like the original one with Alec Guinness. Okay, and we have a young actress, very young actress actually, who's come over here to be with this convention, and she's kindly agreed to be on our show. Many of you will recognize her face. You might not necessarily know her in the United States by name, so let me give you just a brief introduction and tell you that this young lady I first got to know on television many, many years back when she starred in the Forsyte Saga with Susan Hampshire and Eric Porter and many other well-known people. One of the longest-running series in England, and this was for the BBC television. After this, she worked in many, many, many movies. She worked in movies like Sunday Bloody Sunday, and she worked in The Last Protocol on the movies, The Magic Christian with Ringo Starr and Peter Sellers, and then, of course, she made the Star Wars trilogy. She's well known as an actress in England in the stage and the theatre. She's worked for the last 2 or 3 years for the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-on-Avon. And she really is a fabulous, fabulous lady. Great sense of humour. She's, of course, British, so I'm sure you'll be able to understand her. And we're privileged to have her on the show. I have to say, just as a little by the way, the only way I could really twist her arm to come on the stage, such a superstar as this, she happens to be my cousin. Her name is Caroline Blakiston. Boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a nice welcome to my guest today, Miss Caroline Blakiston. Here we are. Hey, Caroline. Oh, and you look so glamorous. How are you? How lovely to see you. Please have a seat and welcome to the Valley of the Sun and Phoenix, Tempe, Arizona.
I'm so happy to be here. You'll never know how happy I am.
Well, we're
Until I go away.
until she goes away. We're thrilled to have you on the show, Caroline, and I need to ask you a little bit. Obviously, you're over here for the Star Wars convention. What do you think of Arizona, first of all? How's the state? How's the weather, the people, the Americans? Tell me.
Well, I've been many, many times to the United States. I've been particularly to New York a lot of times, and I recently came to the West Coast for the first time for another Star Wars convention. I went to San Francisco, and I found that absolutely beautiful, quite wonderful.
Yes.
And now here I am in beautiful Arizona. I got off the plane, it started to rain. It rained for the first 2 days, and then we had hail.
Yes,
But
yes.
now
And
it's
it sounds like
better.
the air's getting to you a little bit.
And I'm now absolutely dried up in the desert.
Absolutely
and that's
dried up in the
fine
desert.
too.
Yes, well, I'm glad we
Everything's fine.
we have a nice climate for you. Now, something I have to tell you about Caroline, and something I believe that you've been promoting a little bit for the first time in the United States, is that Caroline was the first actress, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, to work in Russia, the Soviet Union, shortly before the decline of Gorbachev and where everything started, changing over there. She acted in a play called The Cherry Orchard, Caroline.
That's
is that
right.
The Cherry Orchard, and she was the first British actress to actually perform in Russian. And I imagine to do that she had to learn the entire Russian language, which she studied for the play. And she went around the little villages and towns and the Moscow Arts Centre and so on, all around, and she has fallen in love with the country. I believe you have a great affinity with it. So tell us maybe a little bit about your time in Russia and this play that you're doing, which I understand, or this one-woman play you're now doing called Black Bread and Cucumber. You're going to have to explain that to me. I'll give you time to talk in a moment, because I know I talk a lot. The kids know I talk a lot. But we've got a 14-hour show here, so we'll be fine. So tell us a little bit about your time in Russia, the Russian people, and the show that you're doing at the moment.
Да, спасибо. Спасибо огромное.
Now, спасибо, I know that is thank you, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Первым хочу вам сказать, что... Anybody understand that? Anybody Russian? It's a very, very difficult language to learn if you haven't learned it as a child. I found it really, really hard. But I've been going there for maybe 10 or 15 years as a tourist, meeting actors and actresses, visiting the theatres, seeing the productions there. And I got an opportunity to be in a play by Chekhov, who is their most famous, most popular playwright. He died in 1904, and he's the Russian playwright, I believe, that most Western, most English, European people like to do his plays best of all, because they're very special and very wonderful to act in and to watch.
And what was the part you played?
The part I played was a character called Charlotta Ivanovna. She's a foreign governess, and she comes to look after a young woman. So it's perfectly all right for somebody like me, an English actress, to play this part, because it doesn't matter if I have a funny accent for it. So, у меня нет настоящего паспорта, я не знаю, сколько мне лет, и мне все кажется, что я молоденькая. That sounds terrific to you.
Absolutely.
And it sounds terrific to me, but to the Russian, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that is great. There's so many questions we want to ask you, but maybe before we start on me asking you questions, we're going to have a few of our kids and our adults and our grown-ups, things that they would like to ask Caroline Blakiston.